Welcome to the Confidence Through Health podcast. My name is Jerry Snyder. As a health, wellness, and sports performance coach, my goal each week is to bring you experts to help you take control of your health and build your self-confidence. Thanks for including me today on your journey to better health. As an elite level runner and coach, I'm excited to introduce you to the All In Running Club. The All In Running Club exists to help you become a better runner. Whether you're a beginner, an elite runner, or anywhere in between, the mission of the All In Running Club is to give you the tools you need to find your success in running. Join today to take advantage of the 75% off yearly membership rate offer. Click the link below in the show notes to learn more. So thank you, Adama, for being a guest on the Confidence Through Health podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So we met at a track meet, and I know the people that listen to my podcast know that I run a lot of track meets and masters events and things, and we met and like struck it off from just I think we could both tell that, like, okay, this is a healthy person, this is a healing person, this is somebody that's like intentional in how they do things. And so how did you get into like wanting to help people with their health and wanting to help heal people?
Well, I would say one thing, wanting to help heal people is one thing, and then another is just me wanting to do it for myself.
Okay.
First, yes. So I first was looking at myself, helping to make myself better, make myself stronger, making myself more efficient. Everyone is always looking for this longevity, magic, whatever that is, substance.
Yeah.
So once you tap into anything that can help promote your longevity, then I think that as some people say, you struck gold.
Right.
And I always want to expand on that.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I got into my profession, which is I'm a licensed massage therapist now, and I am a Reiki master.
Okay.
And that involves just working with the energies that, dwell within all of us, basically.
Right. And so tell us a little bit more about that, because I know some people might hear that and be like, oh, is this voodoo? Are we getting into like witchcraft type of stuff? But Reiki healing and energy healing, this is something that a lot of us, I think, we ignore it because we don't understand it. And we don't realize how much the negative energy is impacting our daily life.
So I will say this much. We are very programmed. I mean, for whatever reason, that's just how the human being seems to be.
Yeah.
Now, once a person is able to stray away from that, they pretty much get shunned, and they think, most people would think that, okay, well, this is not for me because I just don't understand it. You're going against the norm. Right. However, they will not take the time out to explore that option to see if it's something that could be beneficial to them or for someone else that they may know.
Right.
Now, in terms of energy, we all are what I describe as, balls of energies working, floating around in this universe. Yeah. That's how I see us as beings.
Right.
Yes, if nothing else, we are just that energy and whole lot of water. Right. So if a person is able to tap into that source power, that energy that dwells within, that energy that caused them to be who they are, what they are, then I think, we have accomplished much once that happens.
Yeah.
And that's what I help to.
That's what I help to. How do you help people find that?
So they have to be open-minded, first of all.
Right.
And be willing to let go. So many of us are walking around, sitting around, laying around, whatever it is, just existing and holding on to too much. Sometimes they're not even aware that they are holding on to too much.
Yeah.
Now, my question to people always is, how can you fill a full cup? You got to let something out. You got to pour something out. If the cup is already full, you got to pour something out.
Right. Very true.
Which means letting go of something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and once you start, is this a good analogy or a good statement? Is that once you start understanding the things that are going to bring you good energy, it'll be easier to see the negative energy things?
Yes, I've experienced that and I've heard of others' experiences with it. And that's just what it is from my understanding and from what I've seen so far.
Okay. And so, like, why is it that you think, besides just the general, like, okay, we're sick because of the way that society has sort of evolved, and we're, like you said, we're programmed, and so that adds to it. But like, why, what's at the root cause of why we need healing? Is there something that's like a, I don't want to say universal for everybody, but like, is there something that's driving that?
Why we need healing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so from my understanding, from that part of being programmed,
Right.
is that we all aspire to be great, to be the greatest that we possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is that we feel that we are lacking in one way, we're going to always look to not be lacking and be
Mm-hmm.
abundant, always.
Right.
So we always feel like we need to be healed. We need to be healed from one way or the other. We need to be healed.
Right.
And just having that mindset that we need that healing, sometimes it allows what, I would look at as negative energy, negative forces
Mm-hmm.
to just come into your space and overcome you. And that could manifest in certain illnesses, certain what we may look at as diseases.
Right.
And a lot of it comes from just mindset. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of it, I'm not going to say all, a lot of it
Right.
comes from just mindset.
Right. Right. So that negative talk to yourself or that negative outlook can generate those things that can happen in the future.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Um, so is the need that we all have for healing, is it why it's called a healing journey and we don't ever get to a point where we're like we're healed? You know what I mean by that?
I strongly believe in that because
Yeah.
you always want more of that
Right.
goodness.
Right. And so once you get a little bit, it's like, oh, there's because there is, it seems like, because I've gone through my own healing journey to get to where I am. And it's like, oh, there's
Mm-hmm.
so much more out there
Mm-hmm.
that I can do to improve. And like you were talking about the longevity piece of it, like to be able to get that better feeling every day.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just oh, I figured out the secret and this is what I'm gonna do. That's all I have to do. Like it's a continual improvement.
Exactly. Exactly. It is. It
Yeah.
is. It's definitely.
So you have an approach of looking at the whole being,
Mhm.
right? Versus like say, and again, getting to the like the healing piece of it, like healing the mind versus healing the body versus healing the spirit versus, but it's a whole, it encompasses the whole being, correct?
For sure, for sure. So, as a massage therapist, I was taught to look and assess muscles,
Mm-hmm. Right.
ligaments, joints, all of that stuff.
Yep.
So, as a Reiki healer, Reiki master, that encompasses looking at the energy that
Mm-hmm.
drives everything, which is the whole being.
Right.
As a student of acupuncture, we look at everything as well.
Right.
So, for me, the greatest healing for a person could come from just the trifactor, not
Mm-hmm.
just the physical, the mental, or the spiritual alone, but the
Mm-hmm.
three put together. Because how can you truly heal a person physically if their mental state is not right,
Right.
if their spirit is not right?
Yeah.
They all go together.
Yeah.
They all
And
go
so
together.
if somebody's struggling with one part,
Mhm.
is it, have you seen that the approach is better to try and do all three at once, or is it like, okay, well, let me work on one area and then get that, like sort of build that up to a higher level and then work on one of the other ones, or is it all three at the same time, which is Which do you think is a better approach?
So it all depends on the individual.
Hmm.
Some people may not be able to handle all three at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may have to just tap into the physical aspect of it and
Mhm.
then let that person know, okay, well, I understand your mindset, and this is what you may be able to do to help improve that.
Right.
And then once they're more open and able to grasp that concept, then they may be able to go a little bit deeper where we can delve into, the spirit part,
Right.
because that's where everyone holds sacred to them, which should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't want just every and anyone tapping into my spirit,
Right.
because for me, that's my core.
Yeah. Well,
So it
and
takes a little while.
sort of like how we connected, it's like
Yes.
when you're in your own spirit and you understand who you are, you feel the other connection. Like you can
Yes, for
feel it, you
sure.
can see it, you can like, oh, I'm driven to come connect to this person.
Mhm.
Or like, I think I need to just put a barrier up and protect myself, right?
Yes.
Like sometimes you
Yes.
have to do that.
Yes, we do meet people like that,
Yeah.
unfortunately, where you have to just put this wall.
Yeah.
And in the energy world, we may call that, energy vampires in that energy world,
Mhm.
because they just take too much from you.
Right.
Even if they're not even aware of it, they want to take so much of your energy. And it's like, oh, how do I do this?
Right. And
It's
so
just,
it's not all but if you're struggling
mhm,
with keeping an open mind and understanding who you are yourself, and you're trying to always impress somebody else or fit into the group, or like the society size of things, like the peer pressure and following along and da da da, then you could very easily get caught up with some of those negative people and not have a clue,
of
right?
of course, most definitely.
And so how would you go about, like, if you're somebody who's in that situation, how would you go about telling them to like help ground themselves in finding out who they are?
So I was going to say, before you mentioned even grounding, I was going to say the best way to do that is realizing and accepting the fact that, okay, well, this is where I'm at now, and I need to just ground,
Mhm.
because nothing else holds more than when you're grounding.
Right.
Once you're truly grounded and grounded properly, then you can pretty much, how should I say, um, just tackle anything.
Yeah.
The sky is the limit. I mean, it's so much easier when you're grounded,
Yeah.
but it's not easy to be grounded,
Mm.
especially in today's society.
Yeah.
Now, a person have to understand their being, how they function,
Mhm.
and what elements they are most connected to.
Mhm.
Once you can identify that, then it's easier for you to say, well, okay, let me try this to ground myself. Maybe just do a little bit of breathing exercises to
Mhm.
ground myself, to bring myself back. Let me just visualize something to ground myself,
Right.
keep myself in my being.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to go back to your full cup analogy, like to be able to get there, you have to
Mhm.
say, okay, I have to get rid of some things so that I can spend the time to ground myself and
Yep.
understand what's going on, right? Because like if you're consumed with, and I know that we all have work because it's a part of life, and it's a way that society has gone, that we have to work to generate income to be able to do different, pay for bills and different things, right? But like if your life is, you spend your time at work, you come home, you turn the TV on, you watch something for the rest of the evening, and then you go to bed, like you're not getting that time to yourself to ground, right? And so like go to work, then come home and decompress a little bit, and then like go into a vacuum, if you will. It's just like, let me spend time with myself, right?
Yep.
Like is that
So,
one of the best ways for people to start making that change?
so I'll tell you this much from what I have learned and what I've practiced for myself. I find that early in the mornings,
Mhm.
sunrise and sunset, those are the best time to at
Yeah.
least connect, because there's this little gap, that opening.
Hmm.
between the worlds. This is my
Right.
understanding, and I've tried it, and it has worked for me and many people who are in my area as well,
Hmm.
in terms of my field. They have expressed the same thing to me. Early morning, sunrise,
Hmm.
sunset.
Yeah.
That's the best time to connect.
Right. And
Yes,
so
yes.
and are you talking about like actually going outside and being is a part of the sunset and sunrise, or just at that time of the day having that moment of decompressing, whether you're inside or outside?
Whether you're inside or outside at that time is always the best. However, it's best if you are in nature itself, like
Right.
standing on the ground, on the grass, if you only have a rock to stand on,
Yeah.
not, just being inside in your bed, but if that's all you have and you could connect that way, because some people, that's all they can do,
Right.
then just pay attention to the timing of the day.
Hmm.
And if you're able to just visualize yourself, being there, watching the sunset, watching the sunrise,
Yeah.
it helps the mind a little bit more.
Right.
It opens the spirit to do what it needs to do for you.
Right. Well, and I fully agree with that and fully believe in that. And I think most people would understand, like, especially if we've all been on a vacation where we go like either to a beach or to a country, nature. We're out in there camping, whatever it is, and we all tend to go, oh, look at the sunrise, right?
Yes.
Or oh, look at the sunset, isn't it so beautiful? And we have that calming moment,
Yes.
and we need to do that more often than just on a vacation, or you
Yes.
know it needs
Yes.
to be a more of a regular routine and have it part of our day to help us stay grounded.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. I totally agree.
Yeah. Um, and I know from a physiological standpoint, I know that if you're watching the sunset or the sunrise, it affects your pineal gland and it affects your hormones and like the neurotransmitters and things that are going on. And so it's not just a hokey like type of thing. It's like there's the physiological response is happening in your body because of that energy transfer that you're getting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And that's
Couldn't have
that's
said it
really
better.
cool. And I love that is like that the way that our body connects with nature. I think sometimes we forget that we are a part of nature because we've become more than other animals, and we build these big buildings and have cars and do all these fancy technology things that you don't see lions or elephants doing. But on the flip side of that, like lions and elephants and cheetahs and like they have a pretty relaxed life,
Yes.
right?
They do. 'Cause I was going to say to you, did we actually become more? I
Right.
mean, look at us as human beings. Look at us. We
Yeah.
fight against ourselves.
Right.
We try to harm each other. We're not living in peace within.
Yeah.
We're never satisfied.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, just as you mentioned, a lion is quite comfortable
Hmm.
having to hunt the gazelles
Yeah.
and then just go lay in the grass and be at peace,
Right.
knowing that he ate for the day.
Right. And that's I think about sometimes I think about that when I go on a run. Sometimes it's just like, because I'll see something of nature. I try to avoid running too much on streets and neighborhoods and stuff, and go into a park, or go out into a country road where I can see animals, in the field or whatever. And occasionally that'll hit, or I'll watch a bird flying over and I'm like, oh my God, like
Yes.
that bird has no idea about, like the daily struggles that we put on ourselves.
Mhm.
And it's just that we put it on ourselves.
Yes. I was just going to say it's the programming.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that's how I look at it. It's what society deems us to be.
Right.
But what do we want for ourselves?
Yeah.
What would we love to see happen in this universe that we love so much?
Right.
Because, I mean, we're still here.
Yeah.
So obviously it's because we love it.
Right. Right.
As much as us as a human beings, we're doing so many things to destroy each other.
Yeah.
We still love it.
Right. Well, and for those people that are caught up in it, like
Mhm.
that's where somebody like you can come in and help guide them through, right? Because as a healer, you're really just a guide to help them find their journey, right? Is that
Yes,
a good way of putting
yes,
it?
it is most certainly. So in terms of healing, I would say that I'm just the road that leads from
Hmm.
universe to being, to the
Right.
person that I'm working with.
Yeah.
And I just help the connectivity
Yeah.
because the person is not able to do that for themselves in
Hmm.
that moment.
Yeah.
And that's it. I
That's
just
it.
help create the space.
Yeah. And that's awesome. And that's something that I think is more and more needed, as we've talked about. And and it's something that it's also something that once somebody finds it, it it with an open mind, right? Because they have to have an open mind to come to it. Like, and I remember when I first started really feeling it, and I was like, why could I not feel this before? And it
You
was
weren't
like,
ready yet.
I wasn't ready. I didn't have that open mind. It was all like, oh nope, this is the way life is going to be. Boom, 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 boom. And it's like, oh no, there's so much more. And
Mhm,
and when you see that, not only do you recognize that there's so much more, but I start to see the so much more for everybody else,
mhm.
you
Yep.
know, and there's so much more that we could be if everybody else saw the so much more.
Mhm. Now, in terms of being able to help people to see that, that puts us in a different category.
Yeah, yeah,
And we always want more people to be like that. However, there's still going to be others who will try to put us in that little box
right.
and say, no, 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 that is not good because they're still programmed.
Yeah,
They're not aware. They have not woken up. They're still asleep.
right.
They're still what we will call dead.
Yeah, yeah.
So until
And
they awake, they will not understand.
right. And that's one of the what it can be a frustrating thing for somebody who doesn't truly understand the difference between it, because it can be like you just want to prod them and tell them like, come on, come on, come on. But but they have to get there on their own,
Yes.
right? You can show them and you can be an example, but
Mhm.
they have to have that moment of awakening on their own.
Yes, they do.
Yeah,
They do. They have to want it more than you want it for them. As
yeah.
much as you see and know the goodness that can come from it,
Mhm.
they have to want it. They have to be ready,
Yeah,
or it will never happen.
right. And is
So I'm
that
going to
like
chime in.
and from a physical healing standpoint, that's one of those moments I could, as a health coach and helping people work with more of their physical side of healing and their health. Like that's one of the things that I see very, very common is somebody says, oh, I need to get in better shape, or I need to lose weight, or these things. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to help you, give you the guidance and give you the knowledge to how to eat properly and exercise and do all those things. But the other thing that I found is like the weight really doesn't come off until you realize I'm not that person anymore.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So I learned of one powerful phrase, very
Mhm.
powerful. I am.
Mm.
That's
Yep.
it. I
Yep.
am. Once a person tell themselves I am, whatever falls behind that phrase is just what they will be.
Yeah.
No matter what anyone else says to them or try to show them.
Right.
That's just their mindset. That's just what their cells here. That's what their cells will live. That's what
Mhm.
they will be. They
Yeah.
will become that.
Mhm.
I am.
Yep. No, and that's very, and it's interesting you say that, because I've I've gone through moments. There was a long time, probably years, where I didn't listen to the radio at all in the car, because I wanted to have in my own thoughts and stay in my own thoughts. And then I started listening to it again, and I realized I'm getting into it too much. And so I've stopped again, like no more radio in the car unless we're on a long trip or something and we need something to entertain us or something. But because I realized that, you sing along with the songs, and then one of the songs, like there's a it's probably decades old now, but there's a song that says "I'm a loser, baby," you know, and I'm like, when you just sing along with it because it's a catchy song, right? But you're
Yeah.
programming yourself,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh, I don't want to say that to myself. And there's so many other songs that have phrases like that that
Mm-hmm.
we don't realize the subconscious that we're the damage that we're doing
Yep.
because we think we're just in the entertainment side of it, but the body doesn't necessarily know the difference between that entertainment and what you're really telling yourself.
Yep. And for one of that reasons, especially now that you mentioned songs, the easiest way to have a child learn is by teaching them songs because they
Mm-hmm.
love that melody. We connect so much with sounds, the
Yeah.
music, the vibrations that comes from that smooth melody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very mindful of the songs that I sing to my children,
Yeah.
like that Rockabye Baby song. I
Right.
mean, how brutal is that?
Right. I know. Yeah.
When
When
you really
you,
think about it.
yeah. Yeah. When you just hear the tune, you're like, oh, it's a little, but then when you like
Yes,
look at the words, you go, oh my gosh, wow.
exactly.
Yeah. Which gets you back to the programming side of it, right? And like, and
Exactly.
you start to think when you start to break it down that way, you go, okay, wait, what? Who's really trying to tell us what to do?
Hmm.
And in a way that, and like you said, they're doing it in a way that's like, and I think anybody, if is thinking of songs, like if you said, okay, say the alphabet, okay, I could say the alphabet, sing the alphabet, boom, done, right?
Yes,
Because we all learned it to a tune, right?
exactly, exactly.
So, so amazing. But I think that's also like it's so important just from a a consuming standpoint, what you're putting in your body and
Yes,
understanding that it all has energy,
of course, of course.
and so whether it's social media, news media,
Mhm,
radio, it's um food, drinks,
mhm.
people's conversations, energy, like
Yes,
everything
yes.
is
Um,
affecting you.
it is, and this is why a lot of times we'll find ourselves at certain stages of our lives move out of certain neighborhoods because of the energy that's around.
Hmm.
Not just because, okay, well, it's not affordable anymore, or something else.
Yeah. Right.
It's just the energy.
Yeah. Very true. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything
um
is about energy.
yeah.
And once we realize and accept that a little bit more, then we can be more in tune with ourselves and with universe to be able to progress a little bit better, be more at
Right.
peace. Because
Right.
that's all we want to attain, true peace.
Yeah. So it from a cleansing standpoint, because I think about, like, from a physical standpoint, if you're full of toxins, you cleanse, you detox. From an
Mhm.
energy standpoint, is that again getting back to grounding, time away from things, purging those negative things out? Is it that simple, or is there more to it?
It could be that simple for a person, but it all
Hmm.
depends on what's going on with that particular individual.
Hmm.
Because if their body is so programmed that they're holding on to way too much, they may need the help of a practitioner to
Hmm.
help to expunge all of those negative energies from
Right.
them.
Right.
Yep,
And then just like everything else in life, your journey is your journey. And so if you talk to somebody
exactly.
else, it may take them 2 weeks, it may take you 6 weeks, it may take 6 months. Everything is individual, and which again leads back to, like, that's the way we want it to be.
Exactly.
Because if we're
Exactly.
trying to follow everybody else's plan, it's not going to work for us.
Exactly. I would say this. There was one time where I treated a person, and we both didn't realize that the session was going to go the way that it did.
Hmm.
She had pain in her hip for years, at least 15 years, she mentioned to me.
Wow.
And with 60 minutes working on the area, which is in her hip, 60 minutes alone,
Hmm.
she had no pain.
Wow.
when she told me how long she had the pain for, my jaw dropped because it was not explained to me before.
Yeah.
But just because I wanted to help her so badly, and she wanted this help, and I was apparently the right practitioner for her in that moment, in that
Right.
space,
Right.
that the forces helped her to feel better.
Yeah.
And she has been seeing me over the years, and still no pain, which is
Oh,
amazing.
that
Better
is.
than any Western doctor have done, from my understanding, according to what she expressed to me.
Yeah.
Now, Western doctors, we do love them, we do need them in our society. However, sometimes it needs more than just that for a person, according to what's
Right.
going on with body, mind, and spirit.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Well, and I have a doctor friend who we've talked, and he's like, I would much prefer people go to you first, like to me,
Yes. Mhm.
and make sure that everything is aligned properly. And
Mhm.
then if it's still not fixed, okay, now we need to go over there and see, because there's more of an acute issue going on.
Mhm.
But for so many things that are chronic, it's simply just an energy imbalance that people don't know how to
Course.
handle.
Course, of course. Like we always say, it's if you have an emergency and acute situation, as you just mentioned, go to a Western doctor,
Mhm.
because chances are it might be serious.
Right.
If it's something that's been bugging you for years and you can't figure it out, no one else can help you figure it out. You need an energy practitioner.
Right. Yep. And so
It's as simple as that.
you really need a team,
Yes.
you know,
It takes a
and
village to raise a child.
exactly, exactly. You need that team in, and to not be scared of that mindset, because we have been programmed that it's the healthcare system is the way to go, and they're going to take care of everything. But understanding that there's so many other avenues out there, and if there's so many other avenues, you cannot be getting 90% of everything from one of them.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah. So, well, I've really enjoyed the conversation, and I think you've brought some great tips for people and insight for people. Is there anything else that you would want to share for somebody that maybe is struggling with that long term, I can't break free from these things? Like, what else maybe would they need to like think about to be able to open their mind and say, okay, this may be the path I need to change my energy?
Okay. First of all, get rid of that word that says I can't,
Mm,
and just understand and accept the fact that, okay, this is where I'm at right now in this moment in time.
yeah.
This is not where I will continue to be,
Hmm.
and allow the forces to guide you.
Yeah.
Don't try to figure out how it's going to happen.
Right.
Just submit yourself and say, I'm ready.
Hmm.
I'm here. Help me.
Right.
That's it. Just ask for help.
Yeah.
Just ask for help. You'll see how quickly the help comes
Oh,
from
yeah.
all different angles. You'll be amazed.
Yeah. That's so
Yes.
true. That's so true. And I did a live video yesterday on Facebook, um, about helping matters, and like
Yes.
both how we should be offering help more
Hmm.
freely, but also when we need help to ask and not be afraid to open
Hmm.
up and say, I need something. I need help. I don't know how to figure this out.
Hmm.
Because just like you said, if once you get to that point and you open up, and it's very similar to having that open mind to say, I may get my solution from somebody I have no idea that they have the solution.
Yep.
And so if I don't
Yep.
open up and just say I need help to everybody I can come across,
Hmm.
then I may be stuck for a lot longer time than I should be.
Yes. Yes. Two of the things. Recognize the fact that the ego rules us so
Mm,
much because that's the way that we've been programmed.
yeah.
That's not my mindset.
Right. Right.
The attachment guides us
Mm,
because it's been holding us for so
Yeah.
long because that's the way that we've been programmed. That's not my mindset.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So getting rid of the ego part and detaching yourself
Yeah.
helps a long way.
Yeah.
Detach yourself from everything that holds you back, everything that binds you.
Yeah.
Detach.
Oh, that's so true. And it is, it's as an entrepreneur, when I went into business for myself, that was one of the things that I had to come to grips with is like, okay, everybody else says, oh, we'll do it this way, do it this way. This is the way. And like, no, that's not going to be the way it works for me. It's going to be completely different. And at first it was a struggle of, well, everybody else works 8 to 5. And then at 5 o'clock, they're done and they don't talk about work and they don't talk about work on the weekends. And I'm like, I talk about work all the time,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
not
Yes.
work. It's just the life that I live
Living.
and
Exactly. It's living.
yeah. And it's just, I get to do what I love to do. And it's just, it's, and I think when you detach from the programming or the way that people say life is supposed to be,
Hmm?
then you find life.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Like that's the secret to life.
Yep. Indeed. I've often tell people that time is irrelevant for me because I don't see time.
Yeah.
And I literally don't see time. Whenever I'm working with a person, I may see different things, but the timeline is just not there.
Yeah.
So time is always irrelevant for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I
Because really it is,
in society.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you were breaking up just now.
Oh, it's
Go
okay.
ahead again.
I was just going to say, the time is irrelevant. It's like when you live in the moment, there is no past or present, or I mean, there is no
No,
past
not
or
at all.
future. It's just the moment. It's just the present.
Just the moment. Just the moment.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah. Yep. So, well, thank you so much, Adama. So how can people, if they want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
So I do have a website
Mhm.
and it's www.healingwithadama.com.
Okay,
My contact information is shared there.
cool. So
Yes.
I will link that in the show notes so people can click on that and connect with you and learn more about what you're doing and can hopefully take some steps on their healing journey and find you as somebody that can guide them through that.
Amen. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you. It's been fun. Thanks for checking out the Confidence Through Health podcast. Please subscribe, post a review, share this episode with those you love who need a little extra help with their health journey. Visit allinhealthandwellness.com to learn more about the coaching programs that I provide. All episodes are produced by the Social Media Cowboys, your source for all online marketing needs. Go to socialmediacowboys.com for more information.